What is up, tubers of you? And today we're going to be talking all about Shalltear. Now, Shalltear is the third unit in this collaboration with Overlord. We have Ainz and also Albedo, who is... both of them are actually probably not that great, in my opinion. But Shalltear is definitely a solid unit. Probably the best one of the bunch by far. And out of all the collab units, she's probably one of the better ones because of how strong she actually is. And she's very strong because of her S3. It's a full strip, and this will ignore effect resist of any targets with attack lower than Shalltear, making it so that this will always strip even Soul Weavers and even Knights, which is very powerful. And this also has a hit chance increase of 100%, making it so that you can get rid of those Aidens and any evasion units very easily. And also she can hit Ice units as well, which makes her very powerful. This is very good against Aiden, Savior Aiden of course. It's also very good against Karina, because what you can actually do is have a unit, activate this passive, and then if Shalltear goes after, she can strip the defense buff and do a ton of damage. I've even seen her sometimes, almost do more than 50% of Ikarina's health with this, which is pretty insane given how tanky Ikarina is. And of course, this works on a ton of other units as well with buffs, like Crimson Armin. This can get rid of the invulnerability for Zahak and also what Aiden does. So you can see very, very strong and also very, very annoying to deal with on the other side. Next, we have her S2, probably one of her signature abilities, I'd say. She's a vampire, and you're going to see that she actually cannot suffer damage in one attack that will exceed 51% of her max health. Basically, this means that she needs to get 3 hits to die. Very annoying because you'll see also at the start of the turn when she has 60% or more health, she'll be getting increased attack buffs, so her damage will be ramped up if you don't get her low enough. And it's pretty hard to get her low because you'll see at the end of the turn, she'll grant her stealth for 1 turn. So basically Guiding Light, proccing every turn. And of course this is very strong because you can't hit her with a single target. And also because stealth will make it so that you take less damage from the AoE attack that, knocks that unit out of stealth, which makes her pretty tanky and pretty annoying to deal with. A lot of the times, with like Bellions and stuff like that, trying to breaking her out of stealth, anything with AoE, because of the stealth buff, it actually won't do more than 51% of her health. So even if you knock her out of stealth, sometimes you have to hit her even more, which is very frustrating. Next, we have her S1, single target attack that does injuries, and also this injury will scale with the damage you do, and you can soul burn this to do increased damage and increase the injuries. This hits pretty hard, especially if you soul burn it. One of the harder hitting S1s in the game, so very powerful ability. It's pretty similar to like Zahak's S1, so definitely a very strong attack in her S1, and the injuries are very nice against, Laya and stuff like that. Anything that scales with health makes it so that Shalltear is pretty strong against those units. Now, Shalltear, pretty strong overall. I wouldn't say she's like super broken because, she still can die, and, units like Ikarina, even though I said, she can kind of, get rid of her passive, Ikarina's S3 will literally one-shot her. She dies to literally any extra damage effects because it doesn't get affected by the passive at all. Even like Green Rimuru can deal with her very well, so, those units can deal with her. She's not super broken, but she's still pretty strong. Now, her artifact is Pipette Lance. Basically, it's going to be when you attack with a single attack, you increase flat damage, which is very nice for her because she's all single target, and also she'll get absorbed 15% of the damage as health. And you're going to see it's pretty much only going to be used on Shalltear here if this actually loads, and it does, mostly because a lot of warriors don't really have only single target abilities. I guess it's not in the game yet. Nice smile game. She's been out for like a week. But anyways, pretty good on her. Not a lot of warriors that do want a single target. Like if you look here, single target. I guess Laya does, but you definitely want her on her own artifact. I guess Rimuru does that as well. I guess it could be good on Rimuru as well. So I guess there's going to be some units that are decent with it. Now, Lone Crescent Blona, Lionheart Sermia, Urban Shadow Shu, not really good with it. But I guess like a unit such as Rimuru can do okay with it. But Draco Plate's pretty good for him as well. But yeah, definitely a good artifact for herself. It's definitely going to be her best. Because if you run her on something like Golden Rose, you don't get that lifesteal right away, which kind of sucks because you want her to be healing up constantly to abuse her passive, and that goes for Sigurd Scythe as well. You can only heal below 50%, which is not really good for her because you want to really abuse this S2 passive, so just permanent lifesteal is going to be very, very good on her. Now for her skill enhances, because she's a damage dealer, you definitely want to max out everything. You're also going to notice the ramping, especially for S3 is kind of weird. Usually it goes like 5, turn cooldown 10, 15, but this one's 5, turn cooldown 5, 15, so you definitely want to get to +5 on here. And you also need her S2 maxed out, which is pretty useless. And S1, I guess, is the one that you can kind of not max, but honestly, if we're being honest, you definitely want to max this because not only is it extra damage, but extra injury, so it's like a 2-for-1 punch. Definitely want to max out everything. For her set, Now, her set's pretty locked in, I'd say. You either go speed and penetration, you build her decently fast, like 250, or you go destruction and penetration, you go full damage with a little bit slower. I personally like the speed build because you kind of want to be fast to heal, so you actually abuse this passive with your artifact. So I think speed set is technically going to be a little better. It also makes her a lot better into Save Your Aidens. You can guarantee you outspeed her, and you just S3 into Save Your Aiden, and she pretty much just gets one shot, which is pretty insane. So definitely want to make sure that if you go the speed build that you have her at least at like 230, I'd say 220 even if you want to go against slower Save Your Aidens, but mine's at 250 just to be safe and for extra cycling. And of course, pen set is very good because all of her attacks are single target. Usually any units that are bruisers or damage dealers that only have single target damage, such as Shalltear herself, you want penetration set because you just do more damage this way, right? It's way better than crit set. It will increase her damage by a lot. And this is the gear I have her on, right? For stats, nothing too crazy. You just want to make sure she's at a certain speed breakpoint, so like 240 like I mentioned. 100% crit chance for sure. Then you want, I'd say, at least 270 to 80% crit damage with like 3,500, attack. 3k attack is the bare minimum. Crit damage is also going to be like 270 is the bare minimum, but you definitely want to bump those damage stats up because she really relies on doing damage, right? Because of this passive, you basically rely on the lifesteal from your artifact to be tanky, and basically if you do more damage, she'll be tankier. That's how it works. So you can disregard any health or defense on her, right? You can see I have some wasted subs into health and stuff like that, and sometimes even defense. But the perfect build for Shalltear would just be 100% crit chance, like 240 speed, and then everything else into attack and crit damage, and she should be good to go. Now, you want to pair her with units that can protect her. Anything that gives her a barrier is very nice because the barrier will work with her S2, so anything with protection set's very good. If you're going against AoE heavy teams, Last Rider Crow is very good with her to protect her in the stealth. Probably one of the best knights with her. Unbound Knight Airwell is also very good with her because of this shield. And even Crimson Armament, if you have her on protection set with the shield and this immunity for her and invincibility, is very nice as well to protect her from getting hit out of stealth. Now, pretty awesome unit, I'd say. Definitely one of the most fun units from the collab. Unfortunately, Ainz and Albedo aren't nowhere close or anywhere close to how Shalltear is in terms of power, but hopefully they do get buffed. I do think Ainz and Albedo do need buffs. Like, if we talk about them very quickly before we end the video, like you'll see, like I have her ungeared because I'm not even firing the side story. Like Albedo's best build is on the destruction set build, which is pretty troll. I think they definitely need to change like her S2 to, instead of getting this useless speed buff, honestly, I think what they should do is put like a debuff on the enemy side, like decrease hit chance even would be super strong. Decrease speed would be very nice as well, and maybe like a provoke on her S1 and then she'd be fine. But as it is, this speed buff alone is just not that good. Like it doesn't really do anything. You cycle faster to S1, right? So yeah, I think definitely they should change how the S2 works in terms of debuffs, maybe even, and maybe her S1 as well. And for Ainz, there's a lot of opinions on how people want him buffed. I'll talk about how I think they should be buffed in a different video, but I think Ainz should definitely have Ignore Effect Resist in his S3. It's just super troll, right? With how he is right now, he's super stat hungry. You need speed, you need bulk, you need effectiveness, right? You also kind of want effect resist so you don't get CC'd. And that's because if he dies when this death sentence is on something, it just goes away, which is pretty troll as well. I think he definitely needs some help in terms of his S3 in terms of buffs. His S1 is fine. I think his S2 is pretty lackluster. This barrier, I think, should probably give him something else, like a defense buff even would be very nice, or even like a health regen per turn buff would be good. But as it is, I think his S3 definitely needs Ignore Effect Resist, whether it be in a soul burn or just baseline. And his S2 maybe giving him another buff to help with his sustain or his defense capabilities, because his build is very hard to achieve, would be nice as well. Now that aside, Shalltear, definitely a good unit. I think she's, like I said, pretty balanced. Definitely a little bit strong, I'd say, but nothing too overbearing like Vermeer was on release, so there's that. But yeah, that's pretty much for how you want to build Shalltear. I think you definitely want to pull her. She's a collab unit, she's limited, she's also very good. And also her artifact is definitely decent as well for her, and potentially for other warrior units in the future. Even though a lot of warriors might not use this now, this might be very good in the future because this artifact is just pretty crazy. It's just that there's not a lot of sole single target warriors that are meta right now, so maybe this will be good on some future warriors that come out. Pretty much it for this video though, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.